61.55 miles by Patricia,
Baranovska.
Patricia Baranovska, and she is doing such a fantastic job and has carried a smile for most of the day. In second place on the women's side is Micah Morgan, who has done a fantastic job today at 132.72 miles. And in third place for the women currently right now is Del Salt at 117.31 miles. So obviously those leaderboards are still subject to some change. I think the only potential change we'll see would be on the men's side, maybe some jockeying between second and third between Greg, Nick Curry, and Bob Hearn, who is only a mile behind Nick at this point. Actually, less than a mile behind Nick at this point. Another note, Andrew Snope, who is running today barefoot, is on pace to set the world record for most miles run 24 hours while barefoot. We believe that the record is 139. I don't think we've quite gotten confirmation on that, but he's currently at 135.96 miles, and so with 85 minutes to go, it's a reasonable expectation, and he is still running out on the course, moving fairly well. So if he continues to be moving and to be productive, then he should actually walk away with that.
We had a request for you to introduce yourself as one of our co-commentators today.
Oh, my name is Chris Warden, and I'm a part of the Arizona community here. I volunteer a lot at the Aravaipa races. If you've come out to any of the Aravaipa races over the past couple of years and hung out in the beer garden, odds are I'm the guy slinging the beers. So I like to go out there and have fun. I typically stick to 5Ks with the occasional foray into a longer distance. My favorite race around here would be the Crown King Scramble. I do run Black Canyon 100K. I've run it 2 years in a row, and I have a knack for being the final finisher to slide into the Western States Lottery, usually finishing between 1654 and 1657. So I'm Chris. I'm glad to be here, and I've had a blast helping with the coverage and the footage of Desert Solstice, and I look forward to hopefully doing more of these events. We've had a couple of people actually ask if we're going to be doing this across the years.
I think we're going to do some for sure.
I think it would be great to have like a little highlight recap show, maybe for like an hour or two or something to that regard, but we'll get back to that kind of planning in the future. We've got really important things to talk about here. We talked about what Camille is doing. Oswaldo Lopez is now surpassed the previous 100 or the 24-hour record for a Mexican runner, and he's currently at 131.23 miles. So congratulations, Oswaldo, on obtaining that national record.
For those of you guys who are tuning in right now, I just started a live stream over on our Run Seek Get High YouTube channel since our Aravaipa one got temporarily disabled. We are currently watching the last and final 90 minutes of the Desert Solstice Track Invitational. It's a 24-hour track race here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm just beginning to see some light here in Phoenix on Sunday morning, which is a great sight. These runners have been waiting all night for that. And we have Camille Herron, who is leading this entire field with 155 miles. She is just 4 miles away from a new American record at 24 hours for women, and 7.5 miles away from a new world record. She has an hour and 23 minutes to do that, and at the pace she's running, she's on track. So we are gonna have all of this live for you. In that live shot there. You can see behind the scoreboard, you can see the glow of dawn. It is super exciting to see that. We don't want to only focus on Camille, but she's surely the one to watch here. You can see her moving on up. She's in the white long sleeve, coming. Maybe. Venti latte triple soy. We got some coffees, people. Thanks, Jubes.
Jubes is
Woo!
the best.
We're gonna make it. We're really gonna do it. So Camille just went through. I'm gonna switch to our second camera angle over here. We've been live streaming this entire event pretty much all 24 plus hours. We started our stream at 7:30 yesterday morning. We've been going almost non-stop. It's been quite the test of endurance along with all of the runners on the track. We just got a little less running in than they did, but we're certainly just as sore. Some people say they can't read the scoreboard. If you can't read the scoreboard, we actually have the results posted at ultracast.tv. You can tune in there. We'll flip back to that. Hopefully you can take a look at it. We are 22 hours and 38 minutes into this race. This is the annual Desert Solstice Track Invitational. We started with 33 athletes yesterday. They all had to qualify to be here. This is it's an elite level track race. There are people here that are setting national records, world records. They're vying for spots on the US national team. And this is the strongest field we've ever had for this race. There's been quite the number of stories to come out of here. Courtney Dauwalter retired early after 59 miles. Just one too many races this year for her. We had strong performances by both Zach Bitter and Pat Reagan, who were up near the front of the race for a very long time. Both of them eventually pulled out of the race. And now all eyes are on Camille Herron as she moves into 155 mile range. And as kind of a surprise, our lead male runner just went by in the green shorts there. That is Jacob Jackson. Some of his credentials from this year include the win at the Coldwater Rumble 100 mile, the Javelina 100K, the Hangover 75K, and I believe this is a new PR for him. He is at 150.37 miles, and he is about to overtake, I believe, Adrian Stanchow for a spot on the US team.
Adrian was, of course, out here.
Yeah, he just overtook him by in this last lap, actually. So he now currently has the 6th spot on the team for next year, but he's going to probably move up 3 more positions. He'll probably move into the 3rd slot on the team with his performance out here today, which is very interesting. And then right behind him are a couple more strong runners vying for spots as well. Greg Armstrong, my brother Nick Curry, and Bob Hearn. So it's quite the thing to watch out here. We are waiting for Camille to go after Courtney Dauwalter's American record at 24 hours. That sits at 159.3 miles, so literally 4 miles away from that. And then 161.55 is the world record. So it's gonna come down to the final half hour of the event, but we think that she has a really great shot at this.
Mark Smith is asking on our Facebook feed how they earn those slots. It's simply verification of qualifying performance. The performance qualifications are listed on the Aravaipa Running Desert Solstice webpage, and simply submitting an application, correct?
Yeah, so when it opens up for next year's race, we will have updated qualifications if they've changed at all. You know, we had the fullest field we've ever had, so qualifications may change. We'll have to address that after this year and see how it all goes. It's looking like it's going to be a beautiful sunrise out here in Phoenix. You can see Andrew Snope just went by. He has run this entire race barefoot, and he is currently at 136.7 miles. And from what we understand, he currently holds the world best for barefoot 24-hour run at 139. It's looking like he's going to break into the 140-mile range, so just some stellar performances out here on really an ideal weather weekend and an ideal competition weekend. We've just kind of had everything go right this year. Virtually no wind, nice temperatures, a mild night for all intents and purposes. We've had years out here where it's been too hot, it's been rainy, and it's really affected the performances, but not this year, and the competition has just been top-notch.
Yvonne Field asks, and this is an appropriate question, has a woman ever won this race outright before?
You know, I think yes, but I don't remember. I can look that up.
Okay. While you're looking that up, I'll see if I can handle any of our other questions. Erica writes, what a night for running nerds everywhere. Thank you for streaming this. Go Camille. Caleb Wilson asks, where did Zach finish? Zach finished at about 118, 119 miles, I want to say. It was very sudden when Zach decided to pull out of the race. He was moving, 116 was his number. He looked fantastic for most of the day, and he was the leader and seemed like the prohibitive favorite. Did Courtney win overall last year?
Yeah, so in 2016, Courtney Dauwalter won Desert Solstice overall with 147.49 miles. And let me check 2015. That was the year that Pete Kostelnik ran 163, so that's the overall event record. But I believe there's another year that, Catlin Nagy did 151. That was back in 2014. So this event, this is actually the 9th edition of the Desert Solstice. So we're really seeing it come into its own this year, and it's yeah, it's really nice. We'll give you guys one other track view here. I know you guys are enjoying that sunrise, but we want to give you a little insight into the rest of the event over here. Behind the runners there, you can see some large tents, the aid stations in the first one, and all the crews are set up, lined up in lane 3. So really, we do everything we can to just give the best possible performances for all of these athletes as they go for their personal bests out here. We really want to reduce all the obstacles that might come into play. Let's get back to that sunrise shot. Just beautiful morning, nice and calm. Let us know if you have any questions, if you guys are tuning in on our YouTube channel and our Facebook pages, and feel free to share these links. It's going to get very, very exciting here in the next hour as Camille Herron, who you see right on the screen there in the white, is all smiles as she works towards her 24-hour world record, something that it's a big deal in our sport. I think the 24-hour is such an iconic event for ultra running, and a world record doesn't come around every day. So we're really witnessing something special. Camille is a runner that she's really redefining the sport as she makes her way up in distance at the 12-hour, the 100-mile distance, and now at 24 hours. It's really quite the body of work that she's developing. We had a question from Highland Running Club, is Mountain timing? Nope, actually Aravaipa Running is timing this one. This is our company. We're self-timing this event as we have done every year. Who knows, maybe Mountain will come out in the future. Mountain is timing our Across the Years coming up in a couple of weeks.
Brittany asks what Courtney's final distance was. It was 59 or 60 miles. It was in between somewhere there.
We have a comment from Silver Age Dave. These are exciting to run because you have full run support and cheering for the entire race. Usually in the sport, we're running for hours at a time without seeing another human being. It's pretty cool. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Here you're never out of eye shot from anyone.
Yeah, it's tough to hide in this race, which is kind of the interesting thing, for better or for worse. As you can see, wow, there's a number of athletes lined up here coming around. They're all working towards their own personal goals, and or just trying to keep moving and get a few more laps in before it's all said and done.
Vanessa mentions that we need to mention the sponsors so that we can get more in this sport. At this point,
I think Squirrel's Nut Butter is technically a sponsor of this race, but this is really a community-driven. It's sponsored by Aravaipa Running, this event, and by, I guess, Central High School. We're fortunate enough to come out here on this track and in the heart of Phoenix. It's a great venue, I think. It's kind of in the center of it all. We got some great views of the mountains. There's palm trees around, and we're loving it here. And we get a lot of runners that come back year after year for the great support and the ambiance and kind of a little warm weather. Yeah, this sunrise is unreal right now. Hopefully you guys are just soaking this in. Camille Herron is coming by right now with her very, very unique stride.
And she's still moving strong. She's I can pull up her most.
I had a question. How long is this race? 24 hours.
Yes.
And we are at 22:48. You can see the clock up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen there. Yep, that's what this is all about. This is kind of the gold standard for ultra running, even beyond the 100-mile distance. This is one of the toughest race distances in the sport, I think. Not everyone can be good at this, and I think it takes a lot of patience and a lot of experience and pacing to get it right. Did Camille just break the US and age group record? I see it popped off the record. I think that those were unratified records. The women's record is 159.32 that was set by Courtney last December. It just may not have been ratified until very recently, or not quite yet. So she's got to surpass 159.32. So 3 more miles and then 5 more miles for the world record. We're getting real close.
Ron Duncan said he called it. He woke up and Nick Curry was in fourth.
Ron Duncan is the man.
He is very correct on that. Nick has looked very solid through the second half of this race. He ran quite a conservative race in the first half, but in the second half it paid off. Someone's
asking 160 plus for Camille. Yes, she will. She is shooting for 161.55. That's the current world record, and that's what she's on pace to do. If you guys are hearing our voices, here we are. We're in the booth here at the track. My name is Jamil Curry, for anyone who doesn't know me.
I'm Chris Warden. I'm here to hang out and have fun and watch history.
Local member of our Aravaipa group trail run community here in Arizona. So we'll kick it back to that beautiful sunrise a little bit more. If you guys want to check out the full results for this race, they are available on our timing website, ultracast.tv. You can get that over there. And hopefully you guys are enjoying this live broadcast. This is something new that we wanted to bring to this event. It's kind of the perfect event in ultra running for a live cast, because we're in one area, we can see the whole course, and just having fun.
Absolutely, it's great to see Camille still moving along at an excellent pace. Her last lap was a 2:35, so she basically just needs to keep doing what she's doing. Her lap pace needed at this point is in excess of 3 minutes. So we're basically just watching to make sure that she stays upright and healthy, and if that is the case, we will see history here this morning.
I have a couple questions on YouTube here. Remy Brault, how was the weather? Really perfect conditions, I think, overall. High in mid to upper 60s, got to mid 40s at night here, and really no wind, no weather to speak of. Not even I think I had a couple clouds in the sky this morning, but there was none yesterday. Also had a comment from Major Malfunction. I wish I could run one of these, but I am only 14, so I cannot join most races, and I have to do them in my own time. But when I grow up, I'm going to run Western States. Yeah, that's really cool. I love seeing younger people get involved and interested in it, and I would recommend if you want to check out or try a race, work with your parents to sign up for a fixed time event. Not necessarily 24 hours, but maybe you can find a 6-hour race. We have a couple of those through our racing company, Aravaipa. There's usually quite a few around. They're really great because there's no pressure to do any certain type of mileage. You can kind of do whatever distance you feel like wherever you're at, and you can come away with a win because there's no prescribed finish line. It's great.
Google Bought Me asks, hey Jam, have you slept?
I slept for about 15 minutes on the floor here a little bit ago. I've got one from Highland Running Club asking if that's Nick in the gray tank. Yes, he has like an orange head wrap around his head and pink shoes. That's how you know it's him.
Mark Smith asks, if you know them, it would be nice to identify some of the runners as they pass the camera so we can learn them.
Let's do that real quick. We're gonna go back to our feed. Let's see, this is, I forget who that was. Was that Higgins, maybe?
Yeah, because he was.
This is Bob Hearn in the USA and Oswaldo Lopez in the white long sleeve. Coming up next, we have, this is Camille Herron. She's our race leader and heading towards that world record. She's got not too much more to go. It looks like she's going to hang on. Next up is Micah Morgan. She's in second place for the women. And Nick Curry is passing on the outside. He's looking strong, charging ahead. And right behind him is Greg Armstrong. And Nick and Greg are separated by just 3 laps. So Nick is making a surge and going to try and make up a little bit of ground there. Looks like he's moving pretty well.
In an hour, he might be able to make up that distance and actually move up to second. That would be fantastic.
Major Malfunction asks, how can people run track for this long? I would stop out of boredom. It's definitely a mental challenge. I know these guys train a lot, so that's part of the challenge of this one. Next up, Adela Salt is coming across. This is Andrew Snope. He's our barefoot runner. This is Stacy Costa coming up next. She's got 109 miles. And right behind her is Chevy Breslin. Next up in the green shorts, we have Jacob Jackson. He's our men's leader at the moment. And walking up now, let's see,
That's Walker Higgins.
Oh, this is Walker Higgins,
yeah.
Okay.
The other gentleman who is coming around is Jeremy Howard.
Okay, yeah, Jeremy Howard, that's right.
Ron Duncan, fixing the kids' breakfast and heading down. You guys need coffee? We've got some, but we'll take more.
Yeah, we got some coffee. We're good. Thanks, though. But yeah, come on down. Anyone who is in the area, yeah, get over here. You're going to witness some history here in a few minutes.
You've got, well, the thing is you've got an hour before the race is over, but if you want to see Camille actually hit these historic benchmarks, then you probably need to get out here sooner rather than later.
How many are active out of the 33 that started?
I did a spot check on that a little while ago.
They had about 18 earlier.
Yeah. Let me take a look. I can just eyeball it. 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It looks like about 16 are still active. Don't quote me on it, but I'm just going off of those who have finished a lap within the last 30 to 45 minutes. There might be some people that are on the sidelines for a little while, but we can't know for sure, because the only way we know that somebody is actually totally dropped is that they've turned on their timing chip, and those are down at the timing tents at the track level. And we are up in the broadcast booth here at Central High School in Phoenix, Arizona. Between 7th Street and Central Avenue, just south of Camelback, just north of Indian School. Easily identified if you come down to this area by the fact that there are stadium lights on at 7 in the morning. I'm sure that the neighbors nearby were wondering why there were lights on in the middle of the night. But we had some running to do. We had some running to broadcast, and it's been fantastic. Alan Countryman says timed events are the best. I'm definitely coming around on them personally. It definitely is a excuse me, a different type of thing. I like them personally, obviously not at the Desert Solstice level, but I'm a fan of events such as Across the Years, and we have a couple more here that are at Nardini Manor, one of the local venues. and I like them because I'm able to actually run them, and my son can run them as well. My son is an aspiring runner, quite young. He's at the age of 11, but he did across the years last year, and did 35 miles there, and then at Hotfoot Hamster in May he did 37 miles. And the beauty of it is that I don't have to take him out onto a course where I have to worry about if he DNFs in the middle of nowhere trying to extract him, that I can always pull him at a moment's notice. That's the beautiful thing about timed events. So in that, Alan, I tend to agree with you.
All right, we are heading almost into our final hour here. We're at 22:58, and the light is coming into the sky. It's looking like going to be a beautiful day. Nick Curry crossing the line. He is looking strong as ever. He could go for 48 probably. Only kidding, only kidding. Well, some people do it. So as we head into this final hour, it looks like Camille Herron is going to be at 157 miles.
Steve Outridge asks, do the runners receive updates of the current standings, or do they only receive updates from their crew? They actually have a screen, no matter which way they're going. They switch directions every 4 hours if you're not familiar. But they have access to the other competitors' mileage totals every lap. So they are always able to be acutely aware of where they stand in terms of the standings, as well as where their rivals and competition are at any given time. Teresa Brobeck says the battle for third is really shaping up. How close are Nick and Greg at this point? They're less than a mile apart with an hour to go. And if
yeah, I mean, it might be too much. We'll just have to see.
I'm not familiar with Greg, but I know that Nick is more than capable of a ridiculous late kick.
Yeah, he might really turn it on the last and start pumping down some big laps. It looks like Nick did a 2:13 lap, Greg's at 2:22, so it's only about a 10-second difference.
So he would have to make up a little bit more than that.
Yeah, it's 5 to 10 seconds right now per lap, so he'd have to really turn it on, and Greg might turn it on too. But I mean, both of these guys are fighting for spots on the team, and we'll see what they, how much they want to hurt here in this last hour as we get into it.
Let's see. Chris Mendoza asks one last question. What is the temperature here? I believe it's about 48 right now. Oh, 45 is what I've got. It's going to increase sharply. We're still at dawn. The sunrise, it's funny. Yesterday morning when we were beginning our broadcast, we were getting hit in the face with the sun. At this point, we've got this beautiful view of the track, and right behind it is Camelback Mountain. For those of you familiar with the physical geography of the Phoenix area, Camelback Mountain is an extremely popular hiking and climbing area that brings in about 300,000 climbers per year, according to something that I recently read. And it's a favorite of trail runners here as well when they're wanting to attack a Strava segment.
We had the question about the qualifying window for Worlds. You can qualify up till May 27th of 2019 for next year's World Championship, and that's what a lot of these guys are fighting for slots. So if you see Greg, Nick, and Bob, who are in the 3rd through 5th positions there, they are all trying to qualify for the team. The top 6 runners throughout the year, there's a couple auto spots, but top 6 throughout the qualifying window will make that world team. The next World Championship will be held. The IAU World Championship 24-hour is October 26th and 27th of 2019 in Albi, France. And as of right now, on the men's side, the minimum standard, well, Greg Armstrong currently has a spot at 151. But he's going to probably try and increase that, as right behind him is Nick and Bob trying to make that spot. So essentially Nick will have to beat, it looks like 152.99, so he's going to have to go to 153. So he's going to be pushing hard this last hour to try and get above that. And if he can get above 153.5, he'll knock out Harvey Lewis. and I bet Bob is going to be shooting for that 153. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can come down to the wire here. So there's quite a bit of drama, quite a bit of pushing in this last hour. So stay tuned for all that as we move into the final 57 minutes. Nick is looking strong and primed right now. It's great. Just did a 2:13 lap. Bob Hearn just threw down a 2-minute lap. So he knows what he needs to do right now.
Absolutely.
He's got to come up on Nick right now. Nick's trying to come up on Greg, and Greg is trying to stay ahead. So it's a really exciting three-way race. Only about 1 mile separate, one and a quarter mile separates these three gentlemen, and they are all pushing for these spots. This is super interesting. The last race for qualifying for the team is sometime in May.
Got a lot of people that have tuned in here this morning. We're really glad to have you here. We are anxiously awaiting as a couple of the competitors get closer to world records and to attempting to corral those last spots on the national team. Or in some cases, I know that Del Salt is attempting to join the Great Britain national team as well, and she's currently at 119.8 miles. I don't know what their standard is, but I hope that she is within striking distance of that. As we start our final hour here at Desert Solstice, I'm Chris Warden here with Jamil Curry, and Desert Solstice is a fantastic event for those of you that have been sticking with us through the streaming issues that we had as far as hiccups yesterday. We appreciate it. For those of you just tuning in, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
We had a question about Zach and Patrick. What happened to them? So Zach withdrew with 115 miles, and Patrick, he made it to 200K and then kind of was reduced to a walk, essentially. Walked it out for a while before ultimately stopping. So yeah, at this point, all eyes are on our final few competitors out here. Yep, they are just making the rounds and trying to make every last lap and minute count here.
And we've been talking about, obviously, the top of the standings. There's also another, we talked about him earlier, but Pete Kostelnik being out here and knocking out 100 miles after the year he's had is absolutely fantastic. For those of you that aren't familiar, Pete participated in a what they called the Key to Key run, where he ran from the Kenai River in Alaska, I believe it was, to the Florida Keys. 5,000 mile run where he averaged 53 miles a day, self-supported, and that just ended less than a month ago, and he's out here and still knocked out 100 miles. He had his parents here to crew him and take care of him. He did definitely have a rough go of it. He took several breaks, but he got to 100 miles, which is just absolutely staggering after the year that he's had. His total mileage total, as you had said, Jamil, was approaching 10,000 miles for the year of 2018.
All right. We have yeah, someone made the comment that they thought that Pat was going to run for 100 hours with that form, and I
we
agree.
all did.
He was kind of like a metronome. Yeah, the different forms that works for different runners is pretty cool to see out there. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We are yeah, down to the last 54 minutes, as you guys can see up on the screen there. Camille Herron's making her way around through almost 158 miles. She, right now, her first mark that she is working to hit is the American record, which is 159.32. And the world best is 161.55. And she has, you know, just 53 minutes to meet those marks. And we're here, going to be with you all the way through the end there.
So Camille needs to maintain, what are we talking at this point? She needs to maintain a 310 lap pace, or 333 lap pace for the women's open 24-hour record. She's at 157.83. Where is she at on the track?
We had a question about Bob Hearn and how close he is to the 50 to 54 track 24-hour record. And it looks like he has 1.6 miles to go, and he should hit that. So he should hit that probably within the next 15 to 20 minutes. Camille, on the other hand, is looking like she might make it with about 15 minutes to spare. And we have also Jacob Jackson, who is our lead male runner right now, looking at a men's 40 to 44 track record as far as what we have here. He's looking to break that with about 15 minutes to spare. So definitely coming down to the wire here for a few of these age group records on the track. But of course the headlining one will be Camille going after that 161.55.
Uh-oh, Jamil. It's from Parker Jolly. Any word from Treadmill Guy?
No, yeah, we lost him over on the Aravaipa YouTube. Unfortunately, we had too many streams starting and stopping, and YouTube banned us for the day. So we had to start it up on our other YouTube channel. That's why we're over on Run Steep Get High with the track race.
Andrew Snope, Seamus Babcock, super props to my barefoot brother Andrew Snope Dog, who just extended his own barefoot world record, 24-hour world record of 138.8.
Awesome. So we have definitely some people tuning in for that one.
And he's moved up to 6th overall. That's something that we didn't see earlier on in the day. He was very under control and was in the middle or towards the middle of the pack, and has moved up and is now 6th place overall, 5th male. He's been doing fantastic.
Yeah, we had a question about Bob Hearn going after that record for the 50 to 54 track. I'm going to look that up real quick for 24-hour. They asked if that was a Joe Fiji's record, and I think I do have that right here. 50 to 54 on the track. Actually, it's a Bob Hearn record. It looks like he's going to break his own record, but that was set when he was 50, and I believe he's now 54. So he's going to knock that one out of the park real quick before he moves up to the next age group. Actually, Joe Fiji's, oh no, the next age group would be Roy Parang. So yeah, Bob Hearn is really setting himself up to, he's one of the best of his generation for 24-hour racing. I mean, he's hanging with these young guys.
Fritz4345 asks, who the hell is Jacob Jackson? Well, Jacob Jackson is the
Ultra Sign Up, bro. Look him up on Ultra Sign Up. No, I think he's from California. Some of the things he's done this year, he won the Coldwater Rumble 100 miler, which is one of our 100 milers in January. He also was first at Javelina 100K and Hangover 75K. He's got some other wins and some other top placings. I think he was second at Angeles Crest. So he's definitely got some runs under his belt, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's had a heck of a 2018 so far. And
yep, there we go. Steel Town runner confirmed. Bob's about to break his own American age group record. These commenters are great. They're very knowledgeable. They can just answer their own questions.
Oh yeah,
almost.
One pops a question up, another one pops an answer up. John Morris says, "Thank you guys for putting this together live. It's snowing at Frozen Head now." Yeehaw.
Woo! Yeah, love it, love it, love it. Bring it on. Bring on the snow. As you can see here, we've got lots of aid and volunteers and spectators on the track cheering these men and women on in their final golden hour, I guess you might want to call it that. And there she is, Camille Herron coming around. This is definitely probably the hardest hour of the whole entire run, or possibly a victory lap. It just depends on how you feel, but they're going to be digging deep these last few miles to make sure it counts.
If you're tuning in on any one of our formats, or any one of our platforms rather, whether you're on YouTube or you're watching us on the Aravaipa running page, the Desert Solstice page, either of those on Facebook or on Twitter. We actually, our Twitter presence has not been any greater than it is now. We've got quite a few people watching on there. If you're watching us there, great. If you know people that are interested in this kind of thing, let them know. Shoot them a text, shoot them a message, a DM, letting them know that they could be witnessing history. And hopefully within the next 30 or so minutes, we're looking at...
Camille is less than a mile from breaking Courtney's American record. The American record is 159.32. So we will notify you when we're there.
Jeff Plain says Camille's looking strong. Excited to see Alabama runner Micah Morgan having another great race. Yeah, Micah has had a fantastic race. She is going to wind up finishing second female. It's still up in the air as to whether or not she can hold off Oswaldo for 7th overall. But yeah, Micah has had an absolutely wonderful race here yesterday and today.
We had a question from Major Malfunction. I should imagine nobody is recording on a watch due to the time, or they could be swapping watches. Just depends. Some people will charge their watch on the fly. I don't know if I've seen anyone do that, but some watches, they can last 24 hours. It just depends. Not a lot of them. We also have a question. Andrew is close to the barefoot record. We believe so. We couldn't find definitive information on exactly the mileage. He told us 139 beforehand, and he's at that right now. So he's gonna break into the 140 range, which we believe has never been done barefoot before.
Let's see. Mike Keller said, please remind us of the world record as well. Are you talking about the women's world record that Camille is closing in on? If so, that would be 161.55.
Yeah, we were talking originally about the American record first, so that's 159.32, and then you're absolutely correct. The next one after that will be world record at 161.55, so we are tuning in and waiting for that one.
More McClure asks, when are Courtney and Camille going to show down?
They did show down. They showed down in this race. Both of them started this event, and you know, Courtney was kind of at the end of her season, a really big year, and just didn't really have it today. Her legs didn't have it, and but Camille did.
Davey Boy asks, how do you mentally prepare for this, as in the tedium? It must be tough versus a trail ultra where at least the scenery is good.
Yeah, I think in something like this, it's just it's different. You're very motivated by your goals, your internal goals, and that takes precedence over the scenery. I mean, even in a trail race, I think we get into our own minds, and it's an important part of it. And this is just a pure running event, and that's the focus of something like this. So I think, yeah, it'd be great to interview some people about what they think about when they're out there.
I think that for me, the biggest difference is that in a race such as this, fixed time, repeated course race, whether it be here or on a dirt track or even a small mile closed course, is that you've got to be ready for the same area of your body to hurt because of the constant pounding of the same regions. Whereas like even on the slightly undulating trail, you've got a variance in what is going to be pressured. Out here, every step feels the same. At least that's been my experience.
All right, we have a question about Bob versus Nick. Bob is a few seconds faster per mile currently than Nick is. Look at him go. He's just absolutely cruising. That was a 2:01 right there. He's really cranking it down. He's at 148.88. And Nick is 149.38. So just a couple of laps separating them. And only a couple of laps separating Nick and Greg.
And so Greg's last lap was a 2:27.
So Nick is running faster than Greg significantly.
Yes.
But Nick is really ratcheting it down. He had a 2:05, so he's running more like Bob pace. And but yeah, Greg is right behind Nick now, so they're all kind of matching each other. I think they're really racing at this point. I'll be right back.
They all see where they need to be.
Exposure on the
sure, you got it. All right, those of you that are tuned in now, if you've got any questions, fire them off. I'm paying attention. I'm following on all of our platforms, on YouTube, on our Facebook feeds. We've got a lot going on. It's very exciting. I'm glad that you're all here. We've got our largest audience at this point. It's very exciting to be here. This is my first time covering Desert Solstice. It's my first time attending Desert Solstice. Frankly, for that, I should be ashamed. I'm having a ton of fun here. Ben Griffin asks, when was the last 24-hour track race on American soil with 5 finishers of 150 plus miles? You know what, that's a good question. I don't know if I'll be able to come up with an answer for you in a very short time, but I'll see if I can look it up while I'm actually trying to answer other questions as well. Jamil Curry has stepped away from the booth for a moment to take care of some technical issues. My name is Chris Warden. I am a local runner and ultra enthusiast here in the Phoenix area, and you are listening and watching live. Desert Solstice, sponsored, actually put on by Aeroviper Running. It's a 24-hour fixed time race. Obviously, records are meant to be broken, and we're looking at a potentially great one here. Camille Herron is currently at 158.82 miles. She is breathing down the neck of Courtney Dauwalter's American record of 159.32 miles. And then after that, she is not that far off from the world record of for women on the 24-hour time. Patricia Berevnovsky. I'm apologizing if I'm butchering the name. I can't quite read what I've got in front of me, and that number is 161.55. So she's got a little bit less than 3 miles to go to hit that mark, with about 40 minutes to go. Camille's number is absolutely stunning at this point. She has been fantastic. She's been smiles almost the entire 24 hours. Jamil is back. We're glad to have you all here and spending time with us. I'm going to try and find an answer to a question that one of our viewers had. Let's see if I can pull it up. Desert Solstice.
What's the question?
They said, when was the last time a you had a fixed time track race with 5 runners on American soil finished with 150 miles in 24 hours? And I would have assumed it would probably be a desert, like basically 5 finishers. Well,
with 150 miles?
Yeah.
Dude, I have no idea. There's so many 24-hour races out there.
Well, there have only been, prior to this year, there had only been 6 finishers of Desert Solstice to run 150. So I would assume that the answer is not this race, but it's
yeah, it's definitely pretty impressive.
Oh, for sure. It's a fantastic field.
All right, looks like yeah, wow, Greg and Nick and Bob are all neck and neck there, within 1 mile of each other. And Camille now 159.07. It looks like on this lap it's going to be it. I can see her coming around. So 159.32. If you guys are tuning into this, she is currently on the far side of the track, and I believe, yeah, if we do the math on this one, this should be right around 159.32. So when she passes through the start-finish line on this one, we're going to see a new American record. She's going to surpass Courtney Dauwalter, and then she'll have to go another 2.23 miles to surpass the world record. She has plenty of time to do it.
Absolutely, and she looks fantastic.
Yeah, keep an eye out on the stream on your left side. Camille will be coming into frame here in just a second. You can see her right there in the white top. This will be it right here as she comes across the mat, and you'll see her mileage total update in the upper right corner. 159.32 is the mark. American record for the woman. And here it is.
And with that,
150, she matched it, and now she's surpassed it. Woo! Awesome.
I kind of just got chills there. That was absolutely
It's
fantastic.
pretty cool.
One more mile, just tuned in, and I'm sure it's been asked what happened to Courtney. To simplify, it just wasn't her day.
She had a big year. I mean, she ran Big's backyard, and she was just tired. Her legs didn't have it. That stuff's cumulative, and she's done Tahoe 200 and Western States and lots of other big runs, so it's not surprising.
And as a
there's nothing. She's not injured. It's just she needs some time down.
Will Crisp is asking, is Courtney DeWalter at this event to congratulate her? She absolutely is. She's been out here for most of the event.
I don't see where she is right now, but she was here earlier.
She's underneath the canopy over there.
Right on.
But she, after her race, she stuck around for several hours, and then she left, and then she came back. And she's been out here, other than to go and clean up, she didn't even have her customary post-race beer. I asked her if she had it, and was somewhat shocked that she didn't. It meant that much to her to get back out here to be a part of the event. And she did say that to me yesterday that she was looking forward to being back out here this morning to watch the finish of the event.
We had a question from John Cobbs about personal music players against the rules. No, you can have music that is permitted, but I believe you cannot play it from a phone because that can be used as a communications device, which is not permitted. So if you have an iPod that cannot make phone calls, then that is permitted. We also are playing music over the loudspeakers, so a lot of people are just listening to what we're playing. Yeah, Steeltown runners chiming in here. Courtney's had an extraordinarily long year, even without Biggs and Tahoe. That's absolutely true. So here we are. We have, just 35 minutes to go. Let's go back to our screen that has our results on them. Camille coming back around, so she's not in the clear yet. She has 2 more miles to cover from this point on. And here she comes around. She's got to push a little bit more.
Major malfunction follow-up. Why are you not allowed to communicate it? Is it to make it harder?
It's just part of the USATF rules. I'm sure Steeltown Runner can probably comment more on that one. Just pass it off.
I think we've covered the...
Has Camille been on the track the entire night, or did she take any breaks? Yes, there actually was quite the tense moment when she hit 131 miles. She stopped. She walked maybe 3 to 4 laps, not even a running stride. Stayed on the side of the track for a while. She was drinking things, eating sandwiches, just walking, very stiff. And then when she finally got started again, it was probably a good 45 minutes that this was going on. And she finally kind of ramped up and slowly worked back into her pace, and to the point that she could actually run solidly again. It looks like Nick Curry's making a move right now on Greg Armstrong. He's now only like a lap back.
He just ran a 2:05 lap.
Yeah, so it's pretty impressive. Andrew Snope is now well over 140, so he's breaking new ground for barefoot running right here at Desert Solstice.
We're gonna have. Do you want to like sling it down to the sideline where I'll basically just camera you and then we'll walk it down?
Yeah, we should do that.
I think that would be
well, for the world.
Yeah,
for the world. Probably. Oh, there's Patrick. Perfect.
There he is.
We're gonna want to get down on the street for the Camille thing, right?
Yep.
2 of us should, and 1 should stay up here.
Sure. Yeah, I can stay up here, and you guys can go down there. Dell is going to
the
get
American record, right?
Yeah.
What?
She just broke
She
the
got it,
American.
yeah.
Del Salt is hitting the 200K mark, which is her target.
Not yet.
Or she's almost
She's got
there.
like, no, she's got a couple more. She may or may not hit it.
121.
She's at 121. You gotta hit 124 point
Oh,
something.
124. Okay.
A couple 62 milers, yeah. So that might be out of reach. All right, we're just kind of waiting here.
Congrats on your award, Jamil. Well deserved.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What was the exact terminology of that? It was like that ultra personality of the year.
USATF Mountain Ultra Trail Council Contributor of the Year.
Fantastic. I do remember that coming out, and I was excited. Let's see.
So right now we still have, we're looking at some team stuff for Nick, Bob, and Greg. Right now they are moving into position. Jacob Jackson has already claimed a spot on the team. He's knocked down. Currently Adrian is knocked out, and Greg is now matched his previous best, so he's going to try and move ahead of John Olson and Harvey Lewis. And Nick will be right behind him. And he should also move ahead of John and Harvey as well. He needs to get above 153.5.
So
He's got about 2.5 miles to go.
Greg Armstrong is running a 218, but Nick Curry is doing a 206, Andrew Snope a 205.
Nick's gonna run 154, and he's gonna do it.
Bob Hearn a 203. They are throwing down at the end of this race. Obviously the big story is Camille, but it's not the only story by any stretch of the imagination. We've got a couple of guys throwing down some quite fast times. When you consider that they're 150 miles into this, and they're looking at 2 minute or 205 quarter miles.
It's like 8-minute pace.
Yeah. 150 miles into the race. That's absolutely astounding.
As you can see, the sun has hit us now.
It did get bright in here all of a sudden.
Heater's going off.
What happened to Adrian Stantu? He pulled out at 100, I want to say. Yeah, he finished in a group that decided to call it a day after 100 miles.
All right, we officially have 30 minutes to go. Yeah, Andrew is still barefoot. We had a question about that. Come on through.
His feet have worn off.
How many cups of
This guy's no
coffee
cells
are
left.
consumed by the live feed crew in 24 hours? I only had
I had a
two.
couple. I had a couple few Red Bulls.
I had 2 cups of coffee, and actually 3 cups of coffee, and a couple of hot teas, and that's about it. Although my voice still feels like it's about to give out at this point.
All right, we're gonna bring this live standing screen back in for you.
Martin Rodriguez asking if Zach Bitter dropped out. He did indeed. He dropped out at about 116. If you're curious about runners that we haven't hit on recently, you can check on ultracast.tv. We've got a couple of different boards there. We actually have the live lap tracker, so you can see the most recent splits for runners that you're intrigued about. Camille has just hit 160. So
what did she got? 1.55 to go.
Yep.
All right, heading above 160, breaking new ground for American 24-hour women's distance running. Awesome.
Do you want to go down?
Should we go down now, probably?
Yeah, we can do at least one and then cut back, and then for the last, do 10 minutes, cut back briefly, go down.
Let's see. We're gonna get the iPhone. So, is it up there?
Yeah, but is the battery...
We'll take a couple just in case. So.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Somebody wants to get Jam Jam a Starbucks unicorn drink. He got his Starbucks drink. He is all good. Jamil and Patrick Karen are going to head down to the race level here, and they're going to be down there to catch Camille as she is expected to break the world record here in just a few short minutes for most miles in a 24-hour race. It's absolutely awe-inspiring to see this taking place. Obviously, there are still several other runners on the course. As somebody mentioned, we have 5 runners who have hit the 150-mile mark here at Desert Solstice today. Jacob Jackson is the overall men's leader at 154.85. His lead is all but insurmountable at this point as long as he's moving forward. You've got an interesting 3-way dogfight for second in the men's side with Greg Armstrong, Nick Curry, and Bob Hearn all within 1 mile of each other. And I've been following their quarter-mile splits, and their Bob Hearn's most recent lap was at 2:17. Andrew Snope is a little bit further behind it at 2:10. Nick Curry at 2:03, and Greg Armstrong at 2:12. I believe that I'm gonna have to keep an eye on things to see when Patrick and Jamil are ready. It looks like they're ready. I'm gonna throw it to them here in just a moment. I can see them going. All right.
All right, we are live here in the final hour, final like 20 minutes of Desert Solstice 2018, and we're gonna just take a quick walk along the track, see the atmosphere, see if we can cheer these runners on. Woo.
Coming in.
Bob Hearn is
Way to go, Bob.
151.1 right now.
What's his current PR?
I think it's might be more than that.
Yeah.
Jamil!
Camille Herron coming on up. She's at 160.5.
Paul, can you tell Jamil to turn his volume up?
He controls the volume. I can't control it from here. Just tell him he has to control it.
You have the control. Why did you smoke?
I guess that's on me.
go, man. Way to go, Mike. Keep crushing. You got it, buddy. Way to go, Bob. Keep it up. Andrew coming into another loop. There goes Higher Under Ultra.
And she's just pushing.
Woo! Crushing it.
Sounds like she's got 3 laps.
There you go, Greg. Kivas. And those Kivas. And reward.
Get a picture, get a picture taken.
Oswaldo! Woo! Here we go, man. Crushing it. And Nick throwing off some layers. Things are heating up.
He needs to pass him to the bench. He's flying right now. Yes, he is. Nick is.
He's the best, like, looks the best on the track here right now.
Jacob and Bob coming in.
Amazing,
Come on, Bob.
Amazing.
Come on, Bob.
Good job.
Awesome. All right, Jacob.
Nice job, Jacob. Bob also gives me kind of hope because he just incrementally goes up in like a style or two. But it's like, if you just keep tweaking it, you get a little bit better.
We woke up Thursday morning, got here Wednesday, and opened the window.
Way to go, Mike. Woo!
Let's go, Nick. Let's go, Nick. And Nick. Hey, way to push it. Way to push it. Way to go. Way to go.
Woo! All right, Camille.
Go, Camille.
All right, so we got Nick just past Greg. I think he's got one more to lap him, and Camille has,
One more lap, right?
I believe, she's at 161.06. So I think 2 more laps.
2 more laps.
2 more laps, and she should break it after that. Right now, Greg is at 152.6. Nick is 152.3. So he's ahead of him now. He will match him. So he's basically 1 lap behind right now. So they are racing for
There they are
second
on the back
place.
100.
Yeah, they're racing for second place right now. They have 19 minutes to go. So this is really kind of in the pain cave right now for both of these guys. Bob Hearn, he's right here, and he is right there as well. He's only a couple laps behind Nick.
Way to go, Bob.
All right, Bob. And all these guys are racing for spots on the 24-hour team right now. Whew, this is intense right now. this is great. I don't think we've ever had this many people pushing at the end of this race. We got Nick. Greg is pushing hard as well. Barely pulling ahead of him, but Nick is cruising right now. Let's see what that lap split is. Nick just did a 145 lap. Woo! Woo! 145 lap, Nick. Ow! Greg was a 156.
Smoking. Throwing it down.
Damn. Greg.
Go, Greg. Doing good.
All right, Camille is coming around to through the start finish. She has basically one more lap, and then she'll be world record territory. And she's got 18 minutes to go. You want to move down this way? We move down towards the start line. We're getting the crowd over here. So looks like she's got one more, but hopefully she just keeps going all the way and builds upon that. All right, Camille.
Way to go, Camille.
Woo!
Woo! Way to go. Keep it up, guys.
So
All right,
she is.
here comes the crowd.
Yeah, Camille's at 161.31. So when she comes around this time, should be at 161.56, which would be just ahead of the record right there. Our race between Nick and Greg is lengthening out a little bit. Nick is pulling ahead.
2:09.
Jump up, Greg. Jump, Camille.
All right, we have about 17 minutes to go for you guys tuning in.
Keep that pace right there. Keep it. Look away.
All right, Nick, 149.
So close, Nick. Push it.
149.
Keep it up.
All right, let's move on up.
He just come
Oh, you got it, man. Little turnover.
All right, Greg is 2:01 on that one.
Bobby's the record, so Bob, sorry. You can go with the stop. We need someone to stop watching. Little girl. Yes. Still need you. Okay, sorry. I don't want to be responsible. No first. Michelle, you have 15 minutes to do 2K.
All right.
Way to go, way to go.
Yes, good job.
Yes, push it. So Camille is making her way around the final 100 meters here.
There she is.
Woo!
Doing it, Camille.
All right, this should be it.
Okay, so I'll give you Greg. I need.
And there's the clock, 23:45.
Yep.
Cheers.
Woo! Yeah! 161.56 right there on that lap. We have a new world record at 24 hours. And now it's all gravy from here. On to the next one. All right, Nick. 147. We got Nick racing for a spot on the team. He's at 153.1 right now. He needs to surpass 153.5.
You gotta listen. I'll be yelling as loudly as I can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put the flag down. Okay?
Oh, so yeah. Right now they are getting ready. Because this is a 24-hour race, you can go all the way to the buzzer, so right at 24 hours. So they have flags, and they're going to be following every single runner. We're going to sound a horn right at 24 hours, and they're going to put the flag in the ground. We'll go back around and measure everything officially. You get credit for every inch that you go. You get credit for it. So it's going to go down to the wire here. We got 13 minutes to go, and it's a nail biter.
we go, Jacob.
Who doesn't have a job? I need one more person here.
The team? I think he's getting a team spot, at least for now. Until somebody potentially, yeah, he's gonna be a pup lot.
We're gonna count down.
That's what he's trying to
We're
get.
gonna do a 10-second.
Way to go. All right, here comes Nick again. Chasing down that spot. He's flying.
147. Let me ask his wife.
Okay.
Way to go, Bob.
Because I'm
What's my distance?
Don't worry about it.
New territory. Way to go, Greg. Keep crushing, man.
Drop it. Let's go.
Way to go, Michael. Woo!
Great job, Mike. Finish it off.
Keep it up.
John can do it, whatever. 147 on his last name.
Okay. How many? Do we know how many records?
All right, here comes Nick flying in for another loop.
All right, Nick.
There you go.
146.
It's not just one though, it's like
Right there.
Way to go, Jacob.
Jake.
Whoa. No, he's moved up. So if Nick passes him, he's ahead of the team, and then he would be one full spot ahead. So it's
But now we're measuring for actual finish.
Way to go, Andrew. Keep crushing, Oswaldo. You got this, man. Way to go, Bob.
Bob, you're 153. Here you go, Bob.
Run it in the rest of the way. Run it in.
Keep it up. And here we got Greg Armstrong flying through. Way to go, Greg.
There was a couple guys across the line. Greg, and I think 2 other guys.
Camille! Camille, 9 minutes. Camille! Good job, Camille. Go, 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 go. Camille.
That's on Facebook.
Come on, Nick. Let's go, Nick. Nick. Come on, man.
Way to go, Nick.
Way to go. Go for it.
He's got to catch this
Way to go. Jamil. I think it may have cut out, but he's going up there. I just looked at like the Facebook video.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing we can do.
Well, watch this. Well, we need to get it going. God damn it.
Yeah, he's just went up there.
I'll go. Greg is throwing it out.
They're on the same.
They're on the same map. Yeah, Nick just has to catch up. Oh man. Yeah, and look at Greg. 7-minute pace right now. He's running 145 laps. He's running. And he has
I'm good now. This is
Way to go. Wow, whole crew of folks here.
Yeah, nice.
Run tree. That's super crazy.
Yellow. No, I just need to yellow 0 because I will go with it.